Welcome to Lost Culture, your one-stop destination for everything pop culture. My name is Ashton. Today we're going to do a review and a recap for Luke Cage Season 1, Episode 6. So in this episode, we basically get to see why Scarf actually didn't answer the text message for Cottonmouth, and he basically held on to the weapons so that he can extort them for another 100,000. I think he wanted. So, and we don't see that go too well. We see Cottonmouth show up to the docks. He doesn't really like him, basically trying to do a power move against him. So he actually ends up shooting Scarf a couple times, and when that happens, we see there's a dock. I guess a dock security right across the way. He hears everything that go down. I was confused why he didn't call the cops though. He's just yelling, "Is everybody okay?" So that was kind of a weird thing. Normally when a shot goes off, a security guard would just automatically call 911. But this security guard actually got kind of involved, trying to get information what's going on. He didn't seem too worried right away, but we see Cottonmouth takes the shots, and right there, I think he just starts to regret it because he starts a cycle that he can't, which we think he won't really bounce back from. But at the end of the episode, we see he actually bounces back from that and everything. But it just went down. It just started a big cycle. Even for his sister, not his sister, but his cousin, we see it now. His antics is now starting to affect her. The relationship is actually starting to get out to the public, and we see that all come out within his cousin's interview when she does something to her home. They actually catch wind of the pictures. They start to connect pieces of her and Cottonmouth together. They see her grandmother. They see her grandfather, I believe it was Pistol Pete. So we see that they link her and Cottonmouth together just through these family photos that they see around the house. Now, getting away from that, just getting back to Luke Cage part of this story, we see he starts off in the restaurant where Catherine is actually showing where her family actually owns. So he's at the restaurant just eating with fish, and she walks up to him and asks him, does he recognize her? Obviously he didn't, because last time he was with her, he was in guess you can say the coma. So he was in the coma and everything. So it kind of took him by shock. We see Fish takes it as his window to leave, and let Luke Cage catch up with old girl. And from there, we see it starting to get the relationship tight, actually an actual relationship. Because as we see, the only way she really remembers him is through Jessica. Even though we haven't had any mentions of Jessica at all this whole season, this is the first time she comes up. We see that it's not really a big thing either. They just do it just so they can get the relationship back on track. Now from there, we see he gets when he takes her back to his barbershop. We see he gets a little surprised because the barbershop was opened. His first thought was maybe it was some harm. Maybe Fisher just went there, but when Fish didn't respond, and he sees Scarf in the background, it sends Luke Cage down this whole cycle of trying to get information of how Cottonmouth is dirty. Because we see Luke Cage is actually really reluctant on actually helping helping Scarf. And once he tells him he can give him evidence of all the dirty cops, of all the people he killed, this process of getting rid of bodies and everything, Luke Cage actually kind of goes all in. We see he throws his hoodie on. He's walking through Harlem. He sneaks right past Misty, who's been set on what was it, a camp out? So we see she's in front of his office, not his office, but his apartment, and we see that now that the whole apartment knows that Scarf is dirty, they're doing a full-blown manhunt because they found the weapons in the dock. We found evidence that Hammer's weapons were there. They seen his blood all over the crime scene, and they aren't able to get a hold of him. So once they send Misty to his apartment, she looks through it. She does that little photogenic thing she does, where she's basically looking at a scene without actually being there. And we find out a little bit more about Scarf, actually. We find out he has a son that died because Scarf didn't lock his weapon up, which is another thing, like I said, with Luke Cage, they do a lot of not only gun violence or just black pride, black history type things. They try to put a message in their episodes, and we see this episode was gun safety. Even though we know Scarf was a trained professional with his weapon, he still left his weapon out unsecured, and his child got to it, and now he doesn't have it. His son is gone now because of a mistake that he made, which was easily fixable. He could easily had a gun case or something at the house, and by him failing to do that, he lost his child, which was a sad thing to hear about. But it was just cool that they put issues like this into Luke Cage. So going on from there, we find while they're out there just trying to camping out, seeing if anybody comes to his apartment, Luke Cage just sneaks by. Luke Cage is in the apartment. He gets the evidence and is exactly where Scarf told him was going to be at. So they do all that. And right before Luke Cage has the chance to leave, we see Misty actually figures out that someone's actually inside the apartment. They miss someone, so of course her and I think his name was Perez Lieutenant Perez actually go up to his apartment. They don't really get a good glimpse at. I'm pretty sure Misty had a good enough glimpse to actually piece the two things together that was actually Luke Cage. Because when he jump, obviously there's not too many people she know about that can let a building fall on them or jump from the 5th floor and land without any issues. So he does that. She sees the big crater he leaves in the cement, and I'm pretty sure she just pieces it that it's Luke Cage. So obviously she knows where to find him at. The only place he goes to now lately is the barbershop. So he rushes back to the barbershop. He gets Scarf out, which he kind of makes a reference of. We don't get to see how much the refurbish is going on, but we see they obviously got new chairs. There's plastic all over the chairs. And he references that Fish is going to be upset because Fish just bought these new chairs and now he's ruining them with blood from an individual. Now, Catherine calls her mom, and when she calls her mom basically brings their catering truck, but she actually called ahead of time. So she was kind of figuring something bad might go on, things might go south. So she already had a contingency plan set up in place just in case something went wrong with Luke. And by the time Luke get back, her mom pulls up right behind Luke. She has her come to the back, which it seems like for no one to be paying attention in New York, everybody is paying attention because they had what the van said, the color of the van, half of the license plates, and about 5 to 10 minutes, they had all the information they needed about this truck and where to go. Now, once Luke Cage decides to get him out of there, they basically know they can't take him down to the precinct just based on the fact that Cottonmouth probably has all of his cops out there, all of his people out there hunting for him. So once they figure that out, they basically decide to do a beeline straight to, I think it's called I forget what they called it's the Central Police Hub. I believe they called it the Police Hub. And when they decide to go there, drop off the evidence, drop off Scarf, so they can get everything put to rest. And obviously, it's going to be some type of chase scene going on. We see that a couple of Cottonmouth's goons are actually able to find Luke Cage first. They spot the van when Luke Cage does that iffy turn he does. So he does that turn that basically alerts Cottonmouth goons are basically right behind him. And going through that, we see that he pulls into the corner Ave. I didn't really expect him. I thought he might have been on foot trying to flee. I didn't expect him to actually punch through the van wall and then punch through the cement building like he did. So we see the goons unload on the van, and once they get closer to it, it was empty, which we all suspected it to be. No one thought Luke Cage was actually going to be in there. And sorry about that. Luke Cage and company are all gone. So obviously Cottonmouth sends a couple goons through the wall. They all get there. They catch up to him because they're moving kind of slow. We see Scarf is still super injured. They were able to get the bullet out of his thigh, but they didn't have enough time to get the one out of his kidney or stomach area. And that one's really slowing him down. We see he's really close to death. He's on the brink of death, and he's trying to get around. He basically wants to go see his son's grave too right before he dies. And it's sad he never had the chance to do that. Even though he's a dirty cop, we see he actually has another like human side to him. He's not just a one-dimensional character. So all that while they're trying to get through there, we see the goons actually catch up to him and start unloading, and Luke Cage kind of barricades himself in between Scarf and the goons. So he's able to get outside while Luke Cage took care of these other characters. Meanwhile, Misty is still outside the barbershop. She's trying to figure out where everything's going on. And they get the call that shots have been fired. And she wants to go check out, make sure Scarf is okay, see what's really going on, try to get his story of him. She wants to interrogate him. But that's when Perez says, like, look, if shots are fired, which means he's probably dead. You don't want to go see, even though your partner is dirty, or even if he's not dirty, you don't want to see your partner dead. So right there kind of tips her off that something is suspicious if he doesn't want to go to the crime scene, even though he knows that such and such is going on. Now, another thing that I did notice about this episode, when she does like a little fake phone call, there was no reason for him to confess about being dirty. Like when she said, "Oh, that was Scarf. He told me not to trust you." There was no reason for her to come out like, "Oh, he's deeper in than I am." He could be like, "I don't know what he's talking about. Obviously, he's a rat, so there's no point of trusting him." Like, why would you even confess? Like that was like a downside to me. I think it was too easy. Obviously, it was just too easy for him to confess right there. That was my biggest issue with it. Obviously, they were using that to push the story along, but I feel like they could have found a more creative way to do it than just by having him confess because of a fake phone call. But I will give Misty that she was pretty smart to like lure him into that, I guess. But besides that, I don't think it was a smart move on the lieutenant's behalf. Now, once we see all the goons are taken care of, the last goon basically never went in the building. We see he's speeding up, he's getting ready to run Scarf over, and at last second we see Luke Cage come in with a superhero shoulder stop. You know, we see this at least one time. And if it's a superpower character, we're going to see this at least once in their series per season. So we get to see Luke Cage's shoulder stop this season. He's perfectly fine. We see at that moment, Misty pulls up just in time to have her last words with Scarf. She gets he tells her forget what he tells her, but he tells her, basically confesses to her, and from there we see Misty go back to the station, which was pretty strange because we know everybody's looking at her like she's dirty because her partner is dirty. Like, there's no way that one partner is dirty and the other one isn't. It's a pretty good thing to happen. Not pretty good thing, but a pretty common thing that happens. Normally, if one is dirty, the other one is dirty. And she's been feeling like this for like basically the whole day. She's trying to clear her name while at the same time clear her partner's name from these things that are going on. But it's kind of hard because other detectives think she's dirty. Only person I really felt like thought she was dirty was the captain. I mean, thought she was clean was the captain. And we obviously, something was up with Lopez. We seen when Perez, when we see he actually gave the information to Scarf that he was being investigated and everything, that he needed to be more careful about what's going on. And that was like, not too much really happened in this episode. Like, it was a good episode for most part. I enjoyed to see Luke Cage get into a little bit more action because we haven't had, I guess, little spics here and there. But I wish they had somebody in here where he could actually go hand to hand with. Maybe once, now that they kind of got Cottonmouth out of the way, maybe Diamondback will actually step up and Diamondbacks would be a worthy opponent for Luke Cage. We didn't see Shade this episode, so Shade must be up to something, coming up with some plan to stop Luke Cage. Maybe he's getting the Judas bullet. So maybe the next couple episodes that'll come into play. We don't really know when. We don't know how that's going to actually affect Luke Cage. So that's going to be a good question to figure out how that's going to affect Luke Cage when that comes in. Now, the Power Man of the Week will probably go to who nobody did anything truly worthy this episode, man. I guess I have to give it to Luke Cage just for the shoulder stop. That was pretty last minute, pretty epic. He saved the two individuals. But besides that, nothing really happened too much that was really Power Man worthy this episode. Now, thank you guys for tuning in. As always, just like, comment, subscribe to the channel. If you think I missed something, you disagree with something I said, we can always have a conversation about it in the comment sections. And like always, you can follow us on Instagram at lost_culture. You can follow us on Twitter at lost_culttv, or follow me on Instagram at saint_aston. And as always, stay lost. To be upset at him and actually just send him. My name's Aston. Today we're going to do a review and a recap for Empire Season 3, Episode